And good morning, everybody. My name's Dave Lynch. I'm the city manager here in Newton Falls, Ohio, and this is our regular morning briefing during the coronavirus activity taking place throughout the country, throughout the state of Ohio. We do a morning briefing just for Newton Falls, so you've got some idea of how things are affecting us on a local basis. So thanks so much for being part of our Memorial Day broadcast today. And we're going to do things a little bit differently today because we won't be focusing on the virus as much as focusing upon our heroes of our wars, our soldiers and our veterans, because that's what Memorial Day is all about. You know, it says in the Bible, no man hath greater love than he who lays down his life for a friend. And that's what our veterans have done. They've laid down their lives. Some have given their lives. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the tremendous sacrifice and dedication that we have all received to preserve our freedoms from our war veterans. And on our live line right now is someone. I called Shirley over at the MVets and I said, Shirley, give me the name of a war hero right here in Newton Falls. And he may not characterize himself that way, but she certainly did. And on our live line is Bob Cameron. Good morning, Bob. Happy Memorial Day.
Good morning. Happy Memorial Day.
Bob, thanks so much for coming on the program today. I wanted to talk to you because you served in Vietnam, isn't that right?
Correct.
Yeah, Bob, tell us, what were you doing there? Which branch of the military were you in? Give us a little picture of your service.
I was a Marine intelligence analyst. I briefed and debriefed pilots at Da Nang. Had a pretty well off compared to most of the Vietnamese troops. We were on a coastal location and backed up by the best air power in the whole country. So we didn't have too much to worry about during the day. We got rocketed at night. That was our only real problem.
Sure. Well, if you are briefing and debriefing pilots, then, well, you were practically Uncle Sam's war correspondent, weren't you?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. Can you share some of the stories of your experiences there, Bob? What stands out?
The main thing you remember, I'm sure everybody can identify with this that served over there, is the conditions weren't exactly up to the United States standards. We had pretty primitive health conditions over there. Good food, though. They did feed us all right. Mm-hmm. The heat was something else, and the humidity. But it was an experience that I'm sure just about nobody that was there regrets. It's similar to the military service in country. You know, I've never heard of anybody that served time in the military that shows any real regret. Even you notice the veterans of today in the Middle East, even the guys that are badly injured, say they sign up again. So that says something about our military, I think.
Wow. Bob, over in Vietnam, I'm sure you had occasions where you had to confront death and the result of violent war activity. How did you cope with it?
I was really fortunate. When I went over, I had, at the time, the tour of duty was 13 months, and I had what was considered a critical MOS, so they shortened the 13-month tour first down to 9 months, and then down to 6 months. And when they shortened it the first time, I volunteered, and I only had 12 months to do, and the shortened tour was 13, so I couldn't go. Well, they dropped it down to 9 months, and I volunteered again, and I wound up going over. I only had 6 months to do on my enlistment when I got in country. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to spend half the time most of the guys did.
Yeah. So, Bob, how did you confront your own sort of emotional well-being while dealing with some of the terrible death and destruction that you were exposed to?
Well, to tell you the truth, I had more of an emotional problem here in the States before and after serving. After I graduated from Newton Falls in '65, I attended Kent State, and as you probably know, this is the 50th anniversary of that Kent State uprising they had up there when the students got killed, and they had some of the worst protests I ever saw up at Kent. They had the Yippies, the Youth International parties, the Weathermen, the BUS, the Black United Students. They were constantly rioting at Kent, and that's one of the reasons I went into the Marine Corps. I got kind of fed up with it and enlisted in '66 after only 1 year at Kent.
Yeah. Bob, did you lose some friends during the war yourself and comrades?
Yeah. There's a few, but we don't really think about that too much. I'll tell you something. I attended Kent State on and off for 10 years, and I had no contact with any of my fellow students. I was in Vietnam for only 5 months and 11 days, and there's 5 Marines that are today some of my closest friends, and we're constantly in contact after 52 years. So that tells you a little something about today's military, I think. It's a close-knit group.
Yeah. Well, you said there's 5 of you, and you're kind of all bound together, aren't you?
Right. And we just had a 50-year reunion 2 years ago in Texas, and it came from all over the country. It was 5 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't our, as you know, it's not our typical Memorial Day. We're usually marching in a parade and then winding up over Veterans Park for a speaker. So.
Yeah. It's a little bit unusual.
The attitudes of people toward the military have improved. And when we got out of Vietnam, especially coming home, they told us to get out of uniform as quickly as we could. Most of us were flying standby to get home, and to fly standby, you had to have a uniform on it. There was incidents we'd be spit on at the airports and stuff from protesters. And thankfully, today's vet has it a little better. They should, because that's another thing you hear. A lot of people think the veterans today aren't up to the greatest generation from World War II. But I'll tell you something, young kids today enlisted are, in my opinion, just as good as anybody that ever served.
Yeah. Bob, when you think about those people that were those protesters back then, you have the Marines, those who fought in Vietnam. Have any of them been able to forgive some of that outrageous behavior from back then?
No, not really. I'll tell you, I know politics isn't something you usually connect with the military, but we've had, just as an example, some of our first ladies. Eleanor Roosevelt's comment was, she said some of the Marines she knew had the worst language and the worst habits, but thank God for the United States Marines. And then you have other first ladies, I won't mention their names, but they said, what difference does it make when they had the shootings in Benghazi? And we had one that said it's the first time she'd ever been proud to be an American. It's when her husband was elected. And I think that tells you something about the people in this country. It's if the military staying the same, I think the brand of people we have could use a little bit of improvement.
Yeah. Well, Bob, we salute your service. We thank you for your service. I think Winston Churchill said, never before in history have so many owed so much to so few. And, America went on living its regular life while you were over there in those horrendous conditions and facing death and destruction. And I don't think, Bob, that people pay tribute and thanks and appreciation as often as they should. But here on Memorial Day, it gives us a chance to pause and to do that. And, a lot of the World War II generation have died off and passed on, and now we're giving tribute to the Vietnam veterans such as yourself. But you should know that the flame is still burning of appreciation for our veterans, Bob.
And another thing, real brief, I don't know if people realize that how many of the sports figures and athletes and performers of the past is Ted Williams, Bob Feller, Tyrone Power, Clark Gable, Jimmy Stewart, even Elvis Presley have been serving in the military. And entertainers like Bob Hope, Martha Ray, John Wayne, Ronald Reagan, and many others entertained and voiced their pride in this country. And I think that's something we should remember on Memorial Day especially.
Yeah, well, thank goodness we also have our great veterans groups. Bob, which veterans group are you a member of here in Newton Falls?
I'm a life member of 6 different veterans organizations.
Okay.
Here in Newton Falls, VFW, the American Legion, the AMVETS, the Army Navy, and then at Warren, the Marine Corps League, and the other.
Sure.
Can't even think of it now.
Well, that's all right. We appreciate what you being part of those vets groups have done to remind the rest of us, never forget. Never forget. Freedom isn't free, right, Bob?
Right. And following that up, that's the other group I should mention is our local honor guard. We do a lot of funerals for veterans here in town. Yeah.
Well, not just that. Our local honor guard has been involved in so many different events that we've had around town. And, if it weren't for you guys, I often think that our citizens would get caught up in their own daily affairs and their lives and not realize that the air that they breathe is free because of what you guys have done. Bob, the groups are great, and the organizations, the AMVETS, the VFW, and the American Legion in particular here in Newton Falls. And Bob, isn't it amazing? Newton Falls is a relatively small community, but still with all these very active veterans groups. It's unusual, isn't it?
It's very, very unusual. It's traveled quite a bit, and this is one area that can't believe all the different veterans groups that are active around here.
Yeah, well,
it is something to see. And you just like you say that the only time you really notice and appreciate something is when you need it, like wartime with the veterans and all our civil liberties now with this coronavirus shutting us down. You don't really realize how much you miss something until you don't have it.
Boy.
Thankfully, we should be getting back to normal here pretty soon, I hope.
All right, well, everyone in Newton Falls salutes our veterans, and this morning we salute you, Bob Cameron, from the Marines who served in Vietnam. Bob, thank you so much. Peace to you and your family, and good health to you. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, and God bless America. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye.
Bob Cameron. I'd vote for that guy in 2 seconds for just about anything. Well, we know the veterans groups in Newton Falls are pretty outstanding, and we've put together a little bit of a tribute, this following tribute to the fighting men of Newton Falls. Graying hair upon their head, they won't forget their fallen dead. They all stand proud when duty calls. The fighting men of Newton Falls, from Bunker Hill to Shiloh's graves, from Old Verdun and Pershing's waves, all gave some and some gave all. We mourn the men who once stood tall. German planes filled up the air, a kamikaze's steely stare. A young man fights to end the strife, and for freedom gave his life. in Korea's swampy land, the USA. We took a stand in Vietnam. We went again. The blood of boys turned into men. In Kuwait, the Middle East, more soldiers died, our brave deceased. Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, we had more names who won't come back. Missing legs and wheelchairs, vacant minds and vacant stares. Post-traumatic they have been. Have compassion on these men. Don't forget, they went for us. We watched our sons get on that bus. We owe our peace, we owe our land, for the blood they shed on sand. Graying hair upon their head, they won't forget their fallen dead. They all stand proud when duty calls, the fighting men of Newton Falls. Graying hair upon their head, they won't forget their fallen dead. They all stand proud when duty calls, the fighting men of Newton Falls. Ladies and gentlemen, if you woke up this morning at any time that you pleased, think a veteran. If you said a prayer of your choice to thank God for all the blessings you have, thank a veteran. If you have a great day today, thank a veteran. If you sit down with a meal with your friends and your family, you enjoy each other's company, and you talk about anything you want to talk about at all, thank a veteran. If you live in liberty, and you do, thank a veteran. God bless America, and God bless the city of Newton Falls.